Hi there, Scott ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to be talking about 2011's X-Men First Class. I'll stay kind of spoiler-free because I know yes, the movie's been out for over a decade, but some people are now rediscovering the X-Men thanks to the MCU, as it seems that Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman and a few other people are going to be in the MCU as their X-Men characters. After the first trilogy did well, and then the Wolverine Origins movie did not do well, Fox decided to reboot the X-Men, start with the younger characters. And this really was a reboot. They were focusing on some different characters. They didn't have all the same characters that were in the trilogy. Had different actors playing them, younger versions of themselves. Takes place in the 40s and 60s. And then with Days of Future Past, they retconned it and made it the prequel to the original X-Men movie, which is fine. It still works, but James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Rose Byrne, Jennifer Lawrence, January Jones, Oliver Platt, Kevin Bacon. This was the first movie directed by Matthew Vaughn, taking it out of the hands of Singer. Bryan Singer was still an executive producer, so was Kinsberg. Had a $140 to $160 million budget, made $356 million, and became the seventh highest grossing film in the series, but it should be a lot higher in my opinion. This is one of the best X-Men movies, period, end of story. The short version is, in rebooting it or trying to do a prequel or whatever, they got as good, if not even better actors to do it, and did it just right. Matthew Vaughn found the right tone for the direction. It was almost a James Bond Cuban Missile Crisis situation with the X-Men kind of inserted into it before they've become the X-Men, before superheroes are well known in the world. This was a great idea. It was a great idea. It was a great tack to take, and it did very well on Rotten Tomatoes, made a lot of money, and is widely regarded as one of the best X-Men movies going backwards, and kicked off this new trilogy of movies that includes Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. I'm not going to put Dark Phoenix in there. All in all, rewatching it now, it holds up really well. Special effects are great, except for a few things with Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique, and some inside jokes where they flash forward to some things like she wants to sleep with Magneto. Sorry about the spoilers, and he says, no, you're too young. Maybe if you were older. And then she appears as Rebecca Ronan, which is kind of funny because that's who she is when she's older. Anyway, for this to be a reboot or a retcon, a reboot, why would they put that in there? I think it was always a plan to have this be the prequel to X-Men and kind of be a through line. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't in the writer's room, but I can say looking back on it, this was a great early version of the story of how the X-Men got together, and it leads up to some great movies and great moments that go forward with the whole mythology of the X-Men. It'll be interesting to see how much of this they use in the MCU once we get full X-Men usage in the MCU. It will also be interesting to see if we go back to the Dark Phoenix storyline a third time, and maybe we finally make a decent version of that, or we go back to something like this or whatever. This was a breath of fresh air after seeing 4 X-Men movies. The MCU was already out there. We already had Iron Man and things like that. This was interesting. It was well done. It was well received. I don't know why we just didn't strike while the iron is hot and make more of these, but I'll be back with Days of Future Past here shortly. If you haven't watched X-Men First Class in a long time, check it out. It's one of the best X-Men movies. It's the best example of a good X-Men superhero movie. I thought it was great. Might even upgrade it to 4K, although it looked fine on Blu-ray. Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to a podcast about a movie that's over a decade old. I promise we'll get to some more current stuff very soon. Have a spectacular day, and thank you for listening.